Hi everyone, and welcome back to the GL1100 vlog. Today, it's nice that it's June now, so I said it would be a couple of weeks, and it's been a little bit longer. But today I'm going to start trying to look at the engine. I bought another primary drive chain, and I want to take the crank off as well. And I'm going to show you that side of things, possibly a couple of other bits. As you know from the last video, the engine had been stood for around about 10 years and was seized just on two of the pistons. We'll take it from there. So this is the primary drive chain that I bought. It isn't new, however it came from a reputable breaker, and it looks in really good nick. I think it only cost me £12, so plus postage, which I thought was really good. And as you can see, it's in very good condition. It's in really good condition. None of the chains are seized anywhere or anything of the pins on it. As from you can tell when I'll just bring this up a little bit. This one, you can see the kink on the chain there. It's just not moving at all because it's been seized, because the engine's been seized for so long. It's it just hasn't. All the pins have seized up. Could possibly put this into paraffin and let it soak for a few days or whatever, just to try and free it up, and it possibly might work. But at the end of the day, for £12 plus the postage, it's around about £20 altogether. It's a lot easier and more cost effective really to put that one in. So as you can see, so we've got the gearbox here, we've got the crank, primary drive. This will lift out, it will lift straight out. Just got to make sure that it's in neutral, and always make a note of, I'm not going to take all the gearbox out, because I just want to only take out what I really need to take out to, so I can, get the pistons done, change that. So if you need to get the crank out, the easiest way, looking at this, how to get the primary drive off, is basically to lift the top row of gears out. There's a little selector shaft here that sits in between there. You just make a note of where everything goes. If you do need to take the gearbox out, if you've got a problem with your gearbox, always make a note of where everything goes, or even take a video as you're doing it, because sometimes you can look at the video and it helps for when you're putting it back. So I'm just going to lift this out, and I'm hoping that just lifting that out, we can get the primary drive chain off there. A little bit awkward, but this will actually come off like that. So we'll pop that on there, and we should be able to just lift this out. Just a point on the gearbox, when you take the gear, get that shaft out. If you see here, there are 3 of these which keep the bearings in place, stop them from moving. You'll find, if I show you the shaft, there's one there, there's one here, and there's one on that one. And if you look at, I'll just take the end roller off on here. If you look at, there's a cutout in the bearing where that sits. So you have to make sure that they are, when you put them back in, you'll see me doing that at some stage. They're not all the way round, they're just on the bottom half on this side of the casing to keep the bearings in place. Just to stop them from moving that way when the bike's running. So the next step is to let's get the crank off and get this whole primary chain out, and then we can have a look at the pistons. Now I'm having to put this on its side because there's only me here doing this, and it's moving too much. I haven't got any means of actually locking it into my workbench, so I'm going to have to put it like that. Nothing should fall out. Gearbox and everything, the rest of the gearbox is all sat in there. I need to try and get these out. So only just taking them just a tad slack, and then I'm going to slacken the others. They're 17mm, these are 14mm. Obviously they will be torqued down when they're put back on, but just to slacken them off, just that bit. Two. Not ideal doing it that way. As I said, it's more important that you torque them down and put them back together just to get them slackened off. It won't do them any harm. So, take this off. So really ideally it should be a torque bar slackening these off and someone else giving you a hand. So I haven't got anyone else with me. If you find that you're not confident in doing it the way I did, then please get someone to give you a hand. I'm sure someone will send a comment saying, oh, you can't use a hammer, but the old British bikes. Years ago, that's what you should have to do. An impact drill. You could do it, but I don't like using impact drills on engines, because you could, in theory, strip the thread. You know, the drill's making a noise and stuff, and you're not hearing what's going on. When I hit that spanner with a hammer, you could just hear the crack of the bolt just releasing itself. These are numbered, by the way, as well. You have a number on here, number 1, and you can see, move that up a bit, and you might be able to see me. Bring it in a bit, as far as it's going to go. There's a number on here, so that's number 1. So that centre one doesn't have dowels. The outside one does. There's a dowel. See the dowel? There's a dowel in there, and the other dowel is actually still sat in. But I'll take that out. And we'll leave that in there. And again, has got an arrow on it. Tell you which it's facing that way. It's got a 1 there, it's got a 4 on the back. Always sort of put them in there together. This one might be a little bit more awkward because the reason why it is awkward is because you have got dowels on these two. Take these two dowels out if we can get them out. Again, same again. Arrow. It's got a number 4. There's a number 4 on this one as well. The bearing. So I think I'm going to, if I can get these two pistons conrods off these two, and then I'll undo the other two, because I think I might as well just take them apart, because I don't think this crank's going to be much cop. I'm going to have to either buy another crank, or you hear that thunder outside. careful that you don't drop the nut and don't do what I've just done. These all look very black. So I'll get this other one up at the top. Conrods themselves I will take back home, put them in the sonic bath, soak them in some rust remover first, then put them in a sonic bath, and with a bit of luck that should clean them up. Doesn't have a number on it. Normally these, when you look at this flat piece here, these normally have numbers on them so you can match them up the right way around. This one does. It's got 2D stamped on it. For some reason that one does, one doesn't. Okay. Leave that on for a minute while I turn this round and get the other one up. Never worked on a flat twin, on a flat floor, so I'm learning as much as you guys are. Need to give that a little, can't get in there. So it shows a lot better, but it's still black. So they're all much of a muchness, unfortunately. That was sat like that. That one sat like that. Just push this piston back down a bit. That's quite tight. So I'm hoping with a bit of luck this will be a lot easier to get out. Right, so that's the crank out. I just want to make sure I put these back in on the pistons. Now, I've just learned something there. If I try to get the crank out, and I'm sure if someone stripped one of these before, they'll be going, oh, you noticed the mistake that I've made. However, if I try to lift that crank out with those pistons on, just put that bearing back in, shell. The two pistons will not come out that way because you've got the castings there. So when they're being fitted, it does look like, I haven't read the manual about putting them back together yet, but when they get fitted, it looks like the pistons will come in the other way. You put the crank in and then you actually shell holder of the big end on once the crank's in place. So I will just put this one back on here. Don't get lost. Just quite tight. So for now, I'm going to put these shells back on. I've actually put the main bearing. I'm assuming, looking at the signs on it, that they're standard bearings. I have no way of telling until I have a look at the manual and see what the specifications are, so we're going to drop these back in here for now. So we'll put these back in, as I said, so they don't get lost, let me know which way around they were. I always try and do that because if I had all the parts here, then that'd be fine. I'd just be taking it apart, putting it back together again. However, the crank's going to need sorting, or I'm going to have to get another crank. So with that in mind, this casing is going to sit around for possibly a couple of weeks, depending on how long it's going to take to get the crank sorted. And the last thing I want to do is just have a load of bits and then have to try and work out where it all goes when I put it back in. So I'd sooner, the same I'm going to do with the gearbox. I'm going to of what I've taken out. Okay, so you saw the pistons earlier on when I got them out of the casings on the GL1100, and what I did was I actually colour coded them with cable, so knowing that once they've gone into the sonic bath in here, I wouldn't know which one was which. So I've used different coloured electrical cable, put it through the small ends, tied them together, and then I made a note of which was which. So as you can see, it's cleaned them up really, really well. There's still a little bit to wipe down and stuff, but you know, these are the rust and stuff's coming off, surface rust off them. I should really have gloves on picking these out of here, but again, it's taking everything off. They look a million times better than what they were. So I'm just going to put these back in. These are being in for about, you can't run them all the time. You need to run the sonic baths sort of 5 or 10 minutes and then give it a 10-minute break and then run it again. I'm running at about 45 degrees. It's going up a little bit with the temperature because as the sonic bath sort of does its job, it heats the water up as well. So I'm just going to dial this back in again. Put it on for another 10 minutes. And off we go. And I think after that, I'm hoping, turn around a minute, I'm hoping that once this is done, the piston is seized completely, frees up a bit, because the gudgeon pins on the GL1100 are interference fit and have to be pressed out with a special press, or sent to a Honda dealer to actually get pressed out and pushed back in with like new bearings, small ends and all the rest of it. So I'm hoping I'm going to be able to free the other piston up as well. If it do, and it doesn't seem to be making any bad grinding noises or anything, it might be that I've saved the piston. The other three are fine, they're moving. It's just as one of the pistons is seized solid. So let's see what happens. Okay, so sorry about the noise in the background. Freezer's going mad, but at least I can show you this. So I've taken these out of the sonic bath. I've given them a good clean, just a rinse with water and stuff. And as now you can see, when you look at where the piston rings go and the tops of them and everything, really good, really good. I've found some standard bearings, well, the shells on eBay, about £100 for the set of 4, which is just great. So you look at that, it's sonic baths are amazing, they really are. Still got to clean a few little bits up, but a little nylon brush will get rid of that. It's taken all the carbon off, all the rust has disappeared off the conrods. That's the third one. The only issue is this fourth one is still rock solid. You know, all these are free. You know, they're all moving nice. Get a bit of oil in there, they'll be fine. This one is still rock solid. So I'll turn the oven on, and I'm going to take the oven up to around about 230 degrees, and I'm hoping that the aluminium will expand more than the steel, which it should do. And 230 degrees centigrade, that is, not Fahrenheit. And I'm hoping if we can free this up just to get it moving, then at least if we can get it moving, I can get some oil in there, and it'll sort out the small end. So that's where I am with these, and it actually started moving. However, I put it back in the sonic bath, hoping that it might sort of clean anything out that was in there, and it's come back down to normal temperature, and it's solid again. Difficult to do with one hand, but it is solid. So I'm going to have to try and find another conrod and piston for this one, unless I can take it to Honda and get them to press the gudgeon pin out and sort out why it's seizing. But I think it's going to be easy, just get another conrod. So a few points with this video. So I've got a few things I need to sort out. One, I've measured the barrels. The barrels are a different size to what it says in the manual. 75.1 it says in the manual, and the barrels I've got 74.1. That is strange. It can't be a GL1000 because the serial numbers and everything on the casings all match up to a GL1100 of a particular year. And well, I've got all the paperwork and everything, as I said, this came from California, so I need to look into that. The conrods themselves, all the conrods have got 2D on, which is the weight of the conrod, because each set of conrods are weighted differently. So got that there, which helps with the big end shells, and with the big end shells. And then on the main bearing shells. So on the front, facing towards the bike, the casing, below the one of the timing belt pulleys, there's a little block which actually gives you the numbers that you need to go in onto the diagram and the chart to work out what main bearings there are. Now there'll be a 1, a 2 and a 3 which tells you which bearings they are, and then above that there'll be Roman numerals. So this particular one is, over the 1 there's 2 eyes, which is 2. Over the 2 there's 2 eyes, which is 2, and over the 3 there's 3 eyes, which is 3, and there's a yellow dot as well. And from that you can work out basically what the bearings are. So I need to get the crank polished. I think I'm going to give it a go. Get the crank polished. I've measured it up. It seems within its limits, according to the manual. So I'm going to give that a go. Quickly, the trike. I'm going to try and start sorting the electrics out on that. So that came to a bit of a standstill. I actually bought another XS1100 bike a couple of weeks ago that wasn't running right, and they said they'd had the carbs rebuilt and everything. I've actually taken the carbs off my trike and I've put them on, and the bike's running fine, and I'm just trying to finish that off, which I'll put into the trike videos. But I'm going to try and get the electrics done, or some of the electrics done on the ignition side anyway, on the trike for you in the next month, hopefully, or earlier than that. The Norton Navigator, I'm still waiting on cam bushes. So there's nothing I can do with the engine with that, and I don't want to do anything until I've got the engine in a fashion back up and running. I don't want to start spending loads of time with the rest of the bike until I do that. The GL I will, sort of, while I'm waiting for the crank and everything, I can start looking at doing brakes and the master cylinders and the calipers and all that sort of thing, and we'll do a video on that side as well, because I've got all the parts for that. Let's take it from there. Ride safe, be safe, and I'll talk to you soon, and thanks for all your support and watching all the videos too. Take care. Cheers. Bye.